Okay, I want to go over a few standard things when you're coming to B. I'm going to try to make this quick so I don't get overly complicated. This is just kind of a simple setup. First of all, you could be rushed, and they're either going to poke their head there or this corner. So you're going to have to peek that however you learn to do it. Second of all, they could be here. Once you've gotten to this point, they're probably not behind that car if they haven't peeked yet. So you're probably going to be here. When you peek this spot, you want to wait a second because sometimes they'll do one of these delayed peeks where they peek and go back and then peek and go back. So you don't want to just check it and move on. You want to wait just a split second. Then you push this spot and then you clear back behind the sandbag. Once you're at that point, you want to hold this spot right here while you set up your whatever your strategy is. Sometimes you just be full on rushing, so whatever. Once you're to that point and you're ready to rush or you're preparing to rush, you want to peek that corner without exposing yourself. So you peek that corner. I don't really know. I mean, maybe this windowsill is a good headshot. I don't really line that kind of stuff up, but you can figure out your own way to know where the headshot is. You check for that. If it's smoked, you know, you might want to make sure no one's pushing the smoke, but in general, you're not going to be staring at it or peeking it. The next spot you have to worry about is spools. Now, spools, I've kind of got a little bit of a lineup for it. Basically, below this shadow of that lamp is going to be right where the spool's headshot is. And you should be able to take out an opper. But again, that can be smoked. So if we have threat 1, threat 2. Threat 3 could be, you know, right above the spools, like just kind of playing it like this, where they're kind of peeking it like this. So that's kind of the same threat area. The next spot is going to be this corner right here. Next spot's going to be possibly playing a little sneaky spot like this, where they're crouching right in here, waiting for heads to show up. That's not too common, but you'll see it. So we have spot 1, spot 2, spot 3, spot 4, kind of spot 5. Then the big one, spot 6, is pretty dangerous. It's basically that whole back spot. And then spot 7. This kind of is a spot, but not very common. So when you're rushing this area, you're going to have basically 3 or 4 guys. The first guy's responsibility is to peek each spot in succession fast. So basically peek there, peek there, peek there, peek there, peek there, peek there, peek there. And then kind of enter the site, peeking the closest danger, most likely danger that can basically fuck everybody up. So this guy right here, let's say there is a guy spools, and you're the first guy in, you don't see him. Immediately, the second guy in should be looking there. So I peeked it, and now I'm on to here. The second guy should be exposing himself to only that angle and pushing through. The third guy then will be behind him looking at the smoke side. And then once the first 2 guys have moved on to maybe here and here, the third guy will cover that spot. Basically, you're exposing yourself to a spot that you can return fire from while covering your teammates' asses and not necessarily being exposed to a threat. Once you move on to the full site, obviously it changes. You're going to be moving as quickly as possible before your smokes fade or before the team rotates. But generally speaking, you don't want to all be just kind of wondering where they're going to come from. You want the first guy to limit his exposure up front and slowly, process of elimination, working to kill the first guy. Second guy is going to be covering his ass, third guy covering his ass, and eventually you get the site clear. So that's just kind of a standard entrance. I'll go from there on the smoke setups and everything. Just want to make sure we understand as a team what your responsibility is going to be peeking a site, and we might have assignments, you know, for specific strats, but that's just kind of the general rule of thumb. Peek your angles. Second guy does the same exact thing, but after you. So if there's a delayed exposure, you can eliminate him before he shoots guys in the side of the head or whatever. All right, I'll come back with some smoke and flash videos.